always wanted to do the timber framing.
You know, the beauty, quality, the natural wood is timeless.
It's bringing a skill set to life that you hardly see anymore. I'm Parker Richards. I'm from the Denali School of Timber Framing. I want to introduce my friend from Scotland. This is Jim Thompson. Jim and I have been doing it for 4 years. Total number of classes is we've been doing it for 6 years. We probably over those 6 years have trained somewhere around 95 to 100 carpenters.
My name is Levi Roth.
My name is David Stevens.
Gary Barnett.
David Nussbaum.
Ryan Bird. Chris.
This is Hiram Pendergrass.
Jerry Gamble.
Richard, last name's Hill.
From Valdez.
From Fairbanks, Alaska.
Eagle River.
Out of Chugiak.
Kenai.
Palmer.
Anchorage.
Trapper Creek.
I am a computer technician.
Gold digger.
Retired aircraft mechanic.
I work for the Alaska Pipeline.
Heavy equipment mechanic, but I'm retired.
I'm an electrician.
Physical education teacher.
I'm a mechanic.
Basically, I'm in a partnership with another friend of mine, and we have a couple of high tunnel greenhouses.
You consider these guys have never done carpentry
Yes.
before. It's a fairly outstanding development, and progress was unbelievable.
We noticed that probably half our students are kinetic learners and the other half are audio learners. But if you can combine the hands-on, hands on the tools, we're making things happen, and then you see the book, especially the book that's being written by Jim. It allows their minds to absorb and bring these two parts of learning together.
What we need in timber framing is consistency. That's probably the most important thing in timber framing. Everybody's capable of using a tape and measure slightly incorrectly. Some can be slightly undersized in a dimension, some can be slightly oversized. The use of SketchUp has been a marvellous, extremely beneficial, shall we say. They also use an app on their phone.
I think doing the SketchUp thing that he gave us that, and everybody had the design on your phone. So whatever beam you were working on, it was pretty easy to follow instead of having a bunch of printed out things all over the place.
Jim's a great instructor. Takes time with you. If you got a question, he'll go over stuff thoroughly with you.
It was all around perfect. If we had any questions, he'd go back to the beginning. And he visually and manually, physically showed us how to do things and put us in the right direction.
Sometimes you don't understand a couple of things he was saying there. He's starting to speak Scottish, but no, he was very informative and great to work with.
He makes sure you understand the class as he's teaching it. He doesn't overcomplicate it.
I love his personality, some of his use of the Queen's language, encouraging us and being lighthearted about things.
He lets us start going, but he'll show us exactly what we need to do, but gives us the total freedom to make the mistakes that he probably thinks we need to make, so we learn it.
The Scottish guy, yeah, I met him last year, and he just struck me.
I think he's an excellent teacher.
So we're achieving two advantages. We're getting the increase in accuracy and consistency of timbers, plus we're getting an aesthetic improvement that appeals to the ladies of the house who they don't want to have to dust things down.
Our classes included a number of wives, maybe girlfriends, I don't know. But anyhow, there are a number of women that are interested in timber framing, and I'm not sure if it's so that they can help their husbands design the dream home. Keep an eye on. But it's amazing, women have a real unique ability to see spatial relationships in these timber frames. And when they come to the class, they're not always the one that are moving the big timbers, but they're the ones sometimes that understand the joinery so well.
Absolutely. I have been asked on numerous occasions in Scotland to run classes for women, but only women. Lots of areas that this timber framing expertise can be used on smaller scale projects. You don't have to build a huge timber frame.
Stepping stones, smaller, start small with the greenhouse, and then a timber frame cabinet.
Yeah, you're gonna build a cabin is what we're gonna do.
I've always wanted to build my own house.
Wife and I are building our last home.
I have hopes of building a cabin on some property I bought from the state. Oh, I've always been interested in, working with wood and building a cabin, and then more recently maybe building a small barn.
Summertime rentals for people coming in and fishing.
So I think someday I'll build a timber frame house.
I have a nice cabin and a big deck on the front, and I'm building a post and beam entryway.
We had a client I assume he's been here for the last 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was in earlier on. And he brought photographs
Yes.
of his timber frame.
Yes.
Now he had the confidence after completing our classes to go away and build a massive workshop. I'm looking at it, it's probably bigger than anything I built.
A lot of students that come to this class for the first time do not have what you might call professional quality tools. They come with handyman chisels and a hammer and a screwdriver that's been used for a chisel, and sometimes a chisel that's been used for a screwdriver. We're professional quality tools like chain mortisers, very high quality planes for shaping and shaving the tenons, professional quality chisels for doing mortises and tenons. If you're coming to the class, bring the tools you have. There's a suggested tool list on our website. And when you get here, we usually have tools for sale.
Got to use some of Parker's tools, and then I ran the wood miser and the planer.
Coolest things about this school is that all the milling of the timber is done right on site. If we make a mistake with something, we can just make a new timber. And it's not like we're ordering up from a different sawmill and we have to wait for a couple days. We get to learn how to do it even as the students, and I've never run a sawmill before, but I got to mill a couple of timbers and that was cool.
I've known Parker 4 years since I bought my sawmill. I mean, the guy's got everything, and he's so gracious, you know, to let him tear through his shop.
I think the favorite part of the class is running the wood miser and then watching it go from a tree to an actual piece of timber and then cutting it and then looking at the final product.
We're the proud new owners of this timber frame that's sitting here behind us, and we're really happy to have it. Yeah, I've always been really attracted to the timber frame homes, and I've done quite a bit of building, but I've never done any work with the timber frame or this type of joinery, but I've long time wanted it. Carrie also loves it. I think the land we had was so beautiful, it deserved a beautiful home to go with it.
I was a shop teacher in high school for 15, 16 years. And the very last project I did with these kids was extracurricular, and it was a timber frame.
With so many young people today coming out of high school and even out of college without a marketable skill, timber framing something gives them confidence to go out into the workplace and have something that people will pay to have them do it.
Recommend it for anybody that's interested in doing timber framing projects that likes hands-on training.
Worth every dime. You know, learned a lot in a short period of time.
I think that the class was excellent.
I think everything was great. Food was really good. Probably gained weight down here.
So yeah, it's been nothing but fun for me.
I would highly recommend it to anybody.
I'm really excited to do like an advanced class.
I might want to take it next year because there's so much to learn.
Jim and I plan on doing another class next year. The nice part about doing it here in Alaska is that even if you're from the lower 48, the cost of this class is very reasonable. Alaska is a wonderful place to be in June and July. Watch our website, theaksawmill.com, with a link to the Denali School of Timber Framing, and also Thompson, THOMSON, timber.co. Another thing that's really important to understand the terminology, and some of the students have asked Jim to explain the definition of a Muppet. So, Jim,
Thank you
what
for
is
that
a
one.
Muppet?
Yeah, it's a phrase that we use. We throw it around when someone makes a silly mistake, and there was a few mistakes when we were assembling things, or not mistakes, just awkwardness when we were lifting up some of these components. And I lost
Decorum.
decorum, I think is the best way of describing it. And I called them a bunch of Muppets, and they'd never heard that term before, which went down quite well, I think.